Today we're going to be taking a look at the Aqua lithium ion portable air pump. So we're going to do an overview, a review, and we're going to talk about what comes in the box, even though I don't actually know what I've done with the box. I did want to do a quick disclaimer for you all that this was shipped to me. Can I help you?
Yeah, what's that?
It's an air pump.
Thought you recommended the USB air pump from the coop.
I do, but would you use a 12-inch net and a nano tank?
No, probably not.
Would you use a shrimp net to catch an Oscar?
No.
Okay, different tools for different tasks. Do you mind if I shoot this video?
Makes sense. Carry on.
Why don't you go bother Pec Tech or something? Sorry, folks.
Found your
Anyway,
box.
this was shipped to me for free so that I could try it out and share it with you all. I don't get a commission or anything like that, but I do get a 15% discount code for you all to use on the website, and there's free shipping across the site on all items. So without further ado, let's check out what this thing comes with and what it can do. Now this thing comes with everything you need straight out of the box to get going, which I think is awesome. As you can see, we've got our wall adapter there to plug it in. We've got a 2.5-foot power cord. It's a micro USB. I want to mention that I have been testing this for almost a year now, so the air stones are a little worn, as you can tell, but they are bigger than your typical air stone, which I found really nice, and we will see exactly why here in a minute. There is also an instruction manual, and of course the air pump is in there. So this did come with two 40-inch pieces of airline tubing. My problem was that they were crimped when they arrived. Not a huge deal, it still functioned, but it did happen, so I wanted to pass that along to you all. However, you could have still used it straight out of the box, and in speaking with the manufacturer, they are working to get that fixed as soon as possible. So this is the 5-watt version. This little belt clip here is actually one of my favorite features to this pump. One of the great things that I like about the design is these little feet that it's got on it. It really keeps this pump from walking around. If you've ever bought an air pump and then you plugged it in or you turned it on and you set it down and that thing started dancing across the table or the top of the tank, that can be really frustrating, so I'm happy that this one stays in place. So I've set up a couple of different tests here to show you what this thing can do, including starting out. Now we're going to be using the air stones that came with this. So just straight from the box, this is what you get. It does have a really good flow, as you can see from those larger air stones. Did I mention it's great in a power outage? No, that wasn't planned. We really lost power while I was trying to film this. Moving on though, you get a lot of airflow. There's definitely a lot of surface agitation going on and a really good bubble column coming from these. We've got 4 sponge filters. I'm going to split those and I'm going to run 2 off of each of the outlets on the pump. We're going to start with 1 apiece on the outlets. Again, really good quality airflow. These things will definitely push your standard sponge filter. Now we've got the other valves opened up, and as you can see, it will run 4 sponge filters just fine. The sponge filter on the left actually needed to be cleaned, but you know, real world application, things can't always be perfect, so even with that sponge filter clogged a little bit, it'll still function just fine. So this setup with the belt clip I really love because I don't have to try and stick an extra battery pack in my pocket and then try and find a safe place to put it on the ground when I go out collecting. I can just hook this thing onto my belt when I'm headed out, hook it to the bucket when I get there, typically on the handle, and I'm good to go. And as we just demonstrated, if you're going to some sort of fish swap or fish convention, not only is this great for bringing fish home, but if you're wanting to set up a table with a couple of tanks, you can just bring this thing along. You don't need a power outlet or anything accessible, and you know you're not going to have a problem. Looking on the website here, I wanted to show you there are a couple different size options available. There's a 1.7 watt that goes up to a 100-gallon rating, a 2.5 watt that goes up to a 140-gallon rating, which we'll talk more about that in a minute. And then there is the one that I got, which is 5 watt, goes up to 160 gallons. And we're going to look at the spec sheets here shortly and see exactly what each one of these things has to offer and why I think maybe the 2.5 watt might be the best bang for your buck. So as you can see, we've got some product images and things like that. The one that I'm really interested in is the comparison chart. So if you look, the 5 watt is rated to a depth of 2.6 feet, whereas the 2.5 watt is rated to 1.9 feet, so right at 2 feet, and then the smallest version to 1.7 feet. So looking over the full chart of the differences and similarities between these, we do have the 5 watt doing 3.5 liters a minute, and the 2.5 watt does 2.5 liters per minute. Now, this is again rated to 160 gallons. If you look at the battery variants, I think it really plays a big part here. The 5 watt does have a 3500 milliamp hour battery, whereas the other two models share a 2600 milliamp hour battery. But if you look at the run times, and I do want to say that this was realistic to what I experienced in charging and draining this battery dozens and dozens of times. What you get with the 2.5 watt is 12 to 6 hour battery when it's running full blast, and 20 to 22 hours when it's running on its intermittent mode, which we hadn't talked about yet, but I think is a really cool feature that it doesn't have to run all the time. So there is definitely a big variance there. Really, I think the key takeaways between the 2.5 and the 5 watt version are that it doesn't have quite as much depth if you go with the 2.5, but you do get a longer battery life, and I think that this is actually going to be the best model for most people that are watching this. It's still 2 outlets, it's got a lot more runtime, it's still rated up to 140 gallons, and it still basically goes down to 2-foot depth. So I would take a look at that, look at the price comparison, and just kind of see which one fits best for you. If you are looking to get that 5 watt version, instead of $36, you get it for $28.80, again free shipping. If you go with that 2.5 watt option, which I think you'll like, you get it for $21.60 instead of $26.99. One thing to keep in mind is that the Hygger website offers a lot of different products that we haven't talked about or shown on the channel yet, and you still get the discount code and the free shipping on them. Overall, I think this is a great pump. I think it had the one slight kink, no pun intended, with the airline. Other than that, I absolutely love it. I enjoy it. I recommend it. Again, it's something that I've added to my tool belt as an additional tool on top of the things I already have. That discount code, along with links for the products as well as a link over to Hygger's YouTube channel, are in the description, so check them out. I encourage you to click on one of the 2 videos up on the screen. That lets me know which one you all would prefer to see. Until next time, keep your fish healthy, keep yourselves healthy, and don't be afraid to catch a little fish room fever. Take care, everybody.